In a striking turn of events, the escalating trade tensions between the United States and China have taken a new and potentially damaging turn. As of February 10, 2025, China has implemented retaliatory tariffs on a range of U.S. imports, coinciding with U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of substantial new tariffs on aluminum and steel imports. This latest round of tariffs, reminiscent of the trade war that characterized much of the Trump administration's initial terms, signals a renewed commitment by both nations to impose economic sanctions in an effort to assert their trade interests. Trump's impending imposition of a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports is set to impact not only China but also major trading partners such as Canada and Mexico. He stated, in very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them, reinforcing a policy of reciprocal tariffs that has defined his administration's approach to international trade. The announcement comes on the heels of China's decision to levy tariffs on about $14 billion worth of U.S. products, including a 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas, as well as a 10% tariff on crude oil and various agricultural products. This back and forth of tariffs is not merely a matter of economic policy but also reflects a deeper geopolitical struggle. As China takes these measures, analysts are recalling the historical context of the U.S.-China trade war that began in earnest during Trump's first term, marked by a series of escalating tariffs that led to significant disruptions in global supply chains. The new tariffs are expected to raise prices for American consumers on a variety of goods from electronics to clothing. As the U.S. continues to struggle with inflationary pressures, the reaction from within the U.S. has been swift. Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, criticized Trump's approach, emphasizing the risks posed by shifting goalposts and constant chaos in trade policy. His concerns reflect a broader anxiety among businesses about the unpredictability of the current administration's trade strategies and their potential economic fallout. Moreover, the timing of these tariffs raises questions about the U.S.'s long-term strategy in relation to its trade policies with China. The current trade landscape is characterized by a complex interplay of economic interests, political maneuvers, and national security concerns. Both nations are grappling with domestic pressures, and the trade war has significant implications for global markets as well. As the situation unfolds, the potential for further escalation looms large. The tit-for-tat tariffs could lead to a cycle of retaliation as each country seeks to protect its economic interests. Observers are particularly concerned about the impact on global supply chains, which have not yet fully recovered from previous disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuing geopolitical tensions. Looking ahead, the trajectory of U.S.-China relations remains uncertain. The recent tariffs signal a return to confrontational trade policies, which could stymie efforts for diplomacy and cooperation in other areas such as climate change and global health. As both nations navigate this fraught landscape, the economic ramifications for businesses and consumers alike will be significant, and the world will closely monitor how these developments unfold. In conclusion, the renewed trade hostilities mark a critical juncture in U.S.-China relations, with the potential to reshape the economic landscape for years to come. As both countries dig in their heels, the question remains: can they find a path to dialogue, or are they destined to repeat the mistakes of the past? Only time will tell how this latest chapter in their complicated relationship will unfold, but the stakes are higher than ever. In a strategic response to escalating trade tensions with the United States, China has dispatched a trade delegation to Central Asia, reflecting its broader efforts to diversify trade relationships amid a looming tariff war. The initiative, which involves over 30 executives from the oil, gas, petrochemical, and industrial machinery sectors, comes just hours after Beijing implemented significant retaliatory tariffs on American energy imports, which include a 15% increase on coal and liquefied natural gas (LNG) and a 10% hike on crude oil and agricultural machinery. This trade mission is organized by the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade (CCPIT) and aims to explore opportunities in emerging markets across Central Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and Africa. Notably, the delegation's focus on energy and industrial machinery underscores China's commitment to securing new trade partnerships as it faces mounting pressure from U.S. tariffs. According to reports, CCPIT plans to continue organizing such missions to help Chinese companies penetrate diverse markets, effectively reducing their reliance on the U.S. The backdrop to this proactive approach is the intensifying trade war that has seen the U.S. government impose a blanket 10% tariff on all imports from China totaling approximately $525 billion in goods. In retaliation, China has taken a targeted approach, imposing tariffs on an estimated $14 billion worth of U.S. imports. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Gui Jiaquan emphasized that there are no winners in a trade war, reiterating the need for dialogue and mutual respect to resolve economic disputes. Economic analysts suggest that the Chinese economy, already grappling with sluggish growth, real estate crises, and deflation, is particularly vulnerable to the repercussions of heightened tariffs. Moody's Analytics' Harry Murphy-Cruz pointed out that while China's response has been restrained, it serves as a warning shot to the U.S., indicating both countries are treading a precarious path that could further escalate tensions. China's imports of U.S. crude oil have already seen a drastic decline, plummeting 52% in the first 11 months of 2024 compared to the previous year. This reduction diminishes the impact of retaliatory tariffs, as the U.S. currently holds a relatively modest share of China's total energy imports. Furthermore, while LNG imports from the U.S. have increased significantly, analysts predict that Chinese companies may pivot to sourcing LNG from alternative suppliers to mitigate the impact of tariffs. As the trade war escalates, the implications extend beyond just economic metrics. The Chinese government is balancing its response carefully, aware that aggressive retaliatory measures could provoke further U.S. actions that may hurt its economy even more. In light of President Donald Trump's recent announcements of additional tariffs on metal imports, experts are cautious about predicting the trajectory of these trade tensions. Looking ahead, the future of U.S.-China trade relations remains uncertain. Both nations are caught in a cycle of retaliatory measures and without constructive dialogue. The risk of a prolonged trade war looms large. The situation calls for strategic navigation from both sides to avoid further economic fallout and to foster a more stable trading environment. As China seeks to strengthen ties with other regions, the effectiveness of these efforts in mitigating the impacts of U.S. tariffs will be crucial in determining its economic resilience in the coming years. In a startling revelation that underscores the complexities of international relations and technological espionage, recent reports indicate that a Chinese spy balloon was equipped with advanced technology, sourced from at least 5 American companies. The balloon, which captured headlines last year during a tense standoff between the United States and China, has now emerged as a focal point for discussions about security and technological integrity. The balloon incident, which occurred amid escalating tensions over territorial disputes in the South China Sea, has raised alarms regarding the vulnerabilities of American technology being exploited for foreign surveillance. Officials have confirmed that the equipment aboard the balloon was not only sophisticated but also indicative of the growing intersection between global technology supply chains and national security concerns. This incident raises critical questions about how our technologies are safeguarded and whether they are being misappropriated, noted a senior official involved in the investigation. This development comes at a time when geopolitical dynamics are shifting rapidly. Recently, U.S. President Donald Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba condemned China's assertive actions in the South China Sea, labeling them as unlawful maritime claims and threatening behavior. Their joint statement emphasized a commitment to countering China's maritime expansion, which has implications for regional allies including the Philippines and Vietnam. In response, the Chinese Foreign Ministry criticized the statement as an unwarranted interference in its internal affairs, further escalating tensions in the region. The implications of this technological espionage extend beyond mere surveillance. The integration of American technology into Chinese military and intelligence capabilities could potentially alter the strategic balance in Asia, particularly in contested areas like the South China Sea. Chinese naval deployments have increasingly sought to assert control over regions claimed by neighboring nations, leading to confrontations that could implicate U.S. military interests given the Mutual Defense Pact with the Philippines. As the situation unfolds, the United States is likely to re-evaluate its technology export policies and strengthen collaborations with allies to fortify defenses against potential espionage. We must ensure that our technological assets are not compromised and that we maintain a competitive edge, remarked a defense analyst, highlighting the urgency of the matter. Looking ahead, the international community will be closely monitoring developments in both military maneuvers and diplomatic engagements. The interplay between technological innovation and security will remain a critical area of focus, particularly as nations like China continue to assert their ambitions on the global stage. The unfolding narrative of the spy balloon incident serves as a reminder of the delicate balance of power and the multifaceted nature of contemporary geopolitical conflicts.